What if I told you, you don't rise to a high-energy life by chance. You build it quietly through what you repeat every single day. Most people spend their lives trying to change what is happening around them, believing that once their situation improves, their energy will improve too. They wait for better conditions, better opportunities, better people, and better timing. But the truth is, high energy does not come from outside. It begins from within. And until you understand this, you will always feel like your life is controlled by circumstances instead of being directed by you, because your energy is not a reaction. It is a creation. It is built through the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you interpret everything happening in your life. Two people can be in the exact same situation, facing the same challenges, but living completely different realities. One feels stuck, overwhelmed, and powerless. The other feels focused, calm, and in control. The difference is not the situation. The difference is their internal state. And this is where everything begins to shift. The moment you realize that your energy is created inside you, not outside of you, you stop waiting for life to change before you feel better. Instead, you start changing your internal state first. You begin to understand that your thoughts are not just reactions to reality, and they are shaping reality as you experience it. Think about how your mind works on a daily basis, the way you talk to yourself, the way you interpret situations, the meaning you give to events. All of this is happening constantly, and most of it is happening automatically. If something goes wrong, your mind may immediately go to doubt, frustration, or fear. If something is uncertain, your mind may jump to worst-case scenarios, and without realizing it, these patterns slowly lower your energy. But the key is this: those patterns are not fixed. They are learned, and what is learned can be changed. The moment you become aware of your internal dialogue, you gain the power to shift it. Instead of reacting automatically, you begin to respond consciously. Instead of feeding negativity, you start building a mindset that supports growth. Because high vibration is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing how you respond when things are not perfect. It is about maintaining clarity when there is confusion. It is about staying grounded when there is pressure, and that strength can only come from within. Most people believe that confidence, peace, and motivation come from external success. But in reality, it works the other way around. Your internal state creates your external results. When your energy is stable and focused, your actions become stronger. When your actions become stronger, your results improve. And when your results improve, your confidence naturally grows. But it all starts from within. And this is why chasing external change without internal change never works long-term. You can change your environment, your job, your routine, but if your internal state remains the same, your experience will remain the same. You will carry the same patterns into new situations, and eventually the same results will follow. That is why the real work is internal. It is not about controlling everything outside you. It is about mastering what is inside you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your focus, your reactions. These are the true drivers of your energy, and once you begin to work on them, your entire life starts shifting in a direction you actually control. And here is something very powerful. When your energy comes from within, it becomes independent of circumstances. You are no longer waiting for something good to happen to feel good. You create that state yourself. Even in difficult situations, you maintain a level of clarity. Even in uncertainty, you maintain direction. Even in pressure, you maintain control. This is what high vibration really means. It is not constant happiness. It is not unrealistic positivity. It is inner stability. It is the ability to stay aligned with your purpose regardless of what is happening around you. And when you reach that level, your entire approach to life changes. You stop reacting to every small situation. You stop letting external events control your mood. You become more grounded, more focused, and more intentional. And this internal strength begins to reflect in everything you do. People start noticing a difference in you, not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because your energy feels different. It feels stable, It feels controlled, it feels intentional, and that kind of energy naturally attracts better opportunities, better decisions, and better outcomes. But it all starts with one realization. Nothing outside of you has the power to permanently raise your energy if you are not building it within yourself first. External things can influence you temporarily, but they cannot sustain you. Only your internal state can do that. So when you truly understand this, you stop chasing energy in the outside world, and you start creating it inside yourself, where it actually has the power to change everything. Before anything in your life begins to change, there is one step that cannot be skipped: awareness. Most people want higher energy, better focus, stronger discipline, but they try to jump straight into action without first understanding what is actually happening inside them. And that is why their progress never lasts. Because you cannot fix what you don't see, and you cannot change what you are not aware of. Awareness is the first secret because it reveals the truth about your current state. It shows you how you are thinking, how you are reacting, and where your energy is really going. Without awareness, you are simply running on autopilot. You wake up, think the same thoughts, react the same way, repeat the same habits, and then wonder why nothing is changing. But when awareness enters, autopilot breaks. Think about it. How many thoughts pass through your mind in a single day? Hundreds, maybe thousands. But most of them go unnoticed. They come and go without you questioning them. And yet those same unnoticed thoughts are shaping your emotions, your actions, and your energy. If your thoughts are negative, your energy drops. If your thoughts are scattered, your focus weakens. And if you are not aware of those thoughts, you cannot change them. This is why awareness is powerful. It slows everything down just enough for you to see what is really happening. Instead of being carried away by your thoughts, you start observing them. Instead of reacting instantly to situations, you pause and notice your response. That pause is where your power begins. Because the moment you become aware, you create a gap between stimulus and reaction. And in that gap, you have a choice. You can choose to continue the same pattern, or you can choose a different response. Without awareness, there is no choice. There is only repetition. But with awareness, you begin to take control of your patterns. Most people think they are in control of their life, but in reality, they are controlled by unconscious habits. They scroll without thinking. They react without thinking. They complain without thinking. They delay without thinking. And every unconscious action drains their energy little by little, not in a dramatic way, but in a slow, consistent way that builds over time. But when you become aware, those patterns start becoming visible. You start noticing when your mind is going negative. You start noticing when you are wasting time. You start noticing when your energy is dropping. And that awareness alone begins to change things, because now you are no longer blind to what is happening. And here is something very important. Awareness does not require perfection. You don't have to fix everything immediately. You just have to see clearly, because clarity naturally leads to change. When you truly see something, you cannot ignore it anymore. Your mind starts adjusting automatically. For example, once you become aware that certain thoughts are draining your energy, you naturally begin to question them. You stop accepting them as truth. You begin to challenge them. And slowly, those thoughts lose their power over you, not because you forced them away, but because you saw them clearly. The same applies to habits. When you become aware of how certain behaviors are affecting your energy, you start making better choices. Not out of pressure, but out of understanding. Because now you are not acting blindly, you are acting consciously, and this is where your energy begins to rise. Because awareness brings control. It reduces unnecessary mental noise. It stops automatic negative patterns. It creates space for better thinking and better action. And that space is where higher energy is built. Over time, awareness becomes a skill. You become more present, more observant, more intentional. You don't just live your life, and you understand it as you are living it. And this understanding changes everything. Because now you are not reacting to life randomly, you are responding with clarity. And once you reach this level, something powerful happens. Your energy stops being unpredictable. It becomes stable because you are aware of what is affecting it. You can adjust your thoughts, your focus, and your actions in real time. You don't wait until things go wrong. You catch them early. This is why awareness is the first secret to raising your energy, because it is the foundation of everything else. Without it, nothing lasts. With it, everything becomes possible. It is the starting point of discipline, focus, emotional control, and consistency. So before you try to change your life, start by observing it. Before you try to raise your energy, start by understanding where it is going. Because once you truly see your patterns, you gain the power to change them. And that is where real transformation begins. Every moment of your life, there is a quiet process happening inside your mind, a stream of thoughts that never fully stops. Some are clear, some are random, some are helpful, and many go completely unnoticed. But here's the truth most people ignore. Every one of those thoughts carries energy, and over time those thoughts either elevate you or slowly drain you without you even realizing it. Your thoughts are not neutral. They are not harmless. They are constantly shaping your internal state. When your thoughts are negative, repetitive, and filled with doubt, your energy begins to drop. You feel heavy without knowing why. You lose motivation without a clear reason. You start questioning yourself even when nothing has actually changed in your reality. But when your thoughts are intentional, focused, and aligned with growth, something completely different happens. Your energy rises. You feel clearer. You feel more capable. You begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. And the most important part is, your external situation may still be the same, but your experience of it changes completely just because your thinking changed. This is why your thoughts are one of the most powerful forces in your life. They are the starting point of your energy frequency. Before action, before results, before outcomes, everything begins in the mind. And if the mind is not guided, it will naturally fall into patterns that lower your energy. Because the mind is designed to protect you, not necessarily to empower you. It looks for danger, it remembers past failures, it imagines worst-case scenarios. And while this may have been useful in survival situations, in modern life it often creates unnecessary fear, overthinking, and hesitation. And all of that drains your energy. This is why you cannot leave your thoughts unmanaged. If you do, your energy will be controlled by whatever pattern your mind falls into. But when you start observing your thoughts, something changes. You begin to see them for what they are, just thoughts, not absolute truth. And this awareness gives you power, because once you see a thought clearly, you can question it. You can decide whether it deserves your attention or not. You can choose whether to feed it or let it pass. And that choice determines whether your energy rises or falls. Think about how often your mind repeats the same negative thoughts. I can't do this. What if I fail? I'm not ready. These thoughts may feel real, but they are often just patterns, and every time you accept them without questioning, you give them power. You allow them to lower your energy and influence your actions. But when you start replacing those patterns with more constructive thinking, your entire internal state begins to shift. Instead of asking, why is this so difficult? You ask, how can I improve this? Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, you begin thinking, I can get better with effort. These are not just positive words, they are energy shifts, because the quality of your thoughts determines the direction of your energy, and the direction of your energy determines your actions, and your actions determine your results. It all starts with what is happening inside your mind. This is why high-energy individuals are very careful about how they think, not in a forced or fake way, but in an intentional way. They don't allow their mind to stay in negative loops for too long. They catch it early. They redirect it. They bring it back to something productive. And over time, this becomes natural. Your mind starts operating in a way that supports your growth instead of limiting it. You begin to think in solutions instead of problems. You begin to focus on progress instead of perfection. And this shift creates a stable, strong energy within you. But it all begins with understanding that your thoughts are not random. They are shaping your life every moment. And if you want to raise your energy frequency, you must take control of the one place where everything begins, because in the end, your life does not change when everything around you changes. It changes when you learn to guide the thoughts that are guiding you. There is a force in your life that is quietly shaping you every single day, and most of the time, you don't even notice it. It is not your thoughts alone, not just your actions, but the space you live in, your environment. The people you spend time with, the conversations you listen to, the content you consume, the physical space you stay in. All of these are constantly influencing your energy frequency. Your environment is not neutral. It is either lifting you up or slowly pulling you down. And the reason it is so powerful is because of repetition. What you see every day, what you hear every day, what you experience every day, begins to feel normal. And once something feels normal, your mind stops questioning it. It starts accepting it. And what your mind accepts repeatedly becomes part of your internal state. Think about the people around you. If you are surrounded by individuals who are focused, disciplined, and serious about growth, something inside you begins to shift naturally. You start thinking differently. You start acting differently, not because you forced yourself, but because the environment is influencing your standard. It is showing you what is possible, and slowly, you begin to match that level. But if your environment is filled with negativity, distraction, complaining, and lack of direction, the same process happens in reverse. Even if you have good intentions, your energy begins to adjust to what is around you. You start accepting lower standards, you start losing focus, you start feeling drained without understanding why. And this is not because you are weak. It is because human beings are highly adaptable. We absorb what we are exposed to. Your mind is always learning from your surroundings, whether you realize it or not. And that learning shapes your thoughts, your habits, and your energy. But here is the deeper truth. Your environment is not just physical. It is also digital. The videos you watch, the social media you scroll, the conversations you engage in online, all of this becomes part of your environment. And just like physical surroundings, digital environments also shape your energy. If you constantly consume content that is negative, distracting, or meaningless, your mind becomes cluttered. Your focus weakens, your energy drops. But if you consume content that is meaningful, educational, and growth-oriented, your mind becomes sharper, your perspective expands, your energy rises. This is why protecting your environment is one of the most important steps in raising your energy frequency. Because if you don't choose your environment, it will choose you. And it will shape you in ways you may not even realize until it's too late. Most people try to change their life while staying in the same environment that created their current problems. They want discipline, but they stay surrounded by distraction. They want focus, but they keep exposing themselves to noise. And this creates a constant internal conflict. You are trying to move forward, but your environment is pulling you back. That is why real change requires conscious selection. You have to become intentional about what you allow into your life. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every place deserves your presence. Not every conversation deserves your energy. And this does not mean you isolate yourself from the world. It means you become selective. You choose what aligns with your growth. You reduce exposure to what weakens your focus. You build an environment that supports the version of yourself you are trying to become. Even small changes can have a powerful impact, changing what you watch, changing who you listen to, changing where you spend your time. These may seem like small decisions, but over time they create a completely different internal state. And as your environment improves, your energy begins to stabilize. You feel less distracted, you feel more focused, you feel more aligned. Not because you forced yourself, but because your surroundings are supporting you instead of working against you. But there is something even more powerful than this. Once your energy becomes strong enough, you begin to influence your environment. As well, you bring a different presence into the room. You create a different atmosphere around you. And slowly, the environment starts adapting to your energy instead of the other way around. That is the ultimate level, when you are no longer controlled by your environment, but you are shaping it. But to reach that level, you must first become aware of how deeply your surroundings are affecting you. Because in the end, your environment is not just where you exist. It is what is quietly shaping who you are becoming every single day. There is a moment where everything you've been thinking about, planning, and understanding reaches a limit. You can analyze your life for hours, you can listen to powerful ideas, you can feel motivated for a short time, but none of it truly transforms your reality until you take action. Because action is the point where energy stops being potential and starts becoming power. Most people misunderstand this. They believe they need to feel ready before they begin. They wait for the perfect mindset, the perfect plan, the perfect moment. But that moment rarely comes. And while they wait, their energy stays trapped inside them. It turns into overthinking, hesitation, and frustration. Not because they lack ability, but because they are not moving. Energy is not designed to stay still. When it stays still, it becomes heavy. It creates pressure inside your mind. You start feeling stuck, not because life is stopping you, but because your own energy has no direction, and that lack of movement slowly drains your confidence. But the moment you take action, even a small step, something changes immediately. The pressure begins to release. Your mind becomes clearer. Your focus sharpens. It's almost as if your system wakes up. That is because action activates your energy. It gives it a direction to flow. And here is the truth. Clarity does not come before action. Clarity comes through action. When you move, you start seeing things you could never see while standing still. You learn what works and what doesn't. You adjust, you improve, and step by step, your path becomes clearer. This is why action is the fastest way to raise your energy frequency, because it pulls you out of mental loops and places you into real progress. Instead of thinking about possibilities, you start experiencing them. Instead of imagining outcomes, you start creating them. Think about how often you feel overwhelmed before starting something. Your mind creates a picture that feels bigger than reality. But once you begin, you realize it is manageable. That shift happens because action replaces imagination with experience, and experience is always more grounded than fear. Another powerful thing about action is momentum. One action leads to another. One step creates confidence for the next. And slowly, you build a rhythm. That rhythm becomes your new normal. And as it builds, your energy rises naturally, but momentum only starts when you move. If you keep waiting, momentum never begins. And without momentum, everything feels heavy. Even small tasks feel difficult because you are starting from zero every time. This is why small actions matter more than big intentions. You don't need to change everything at once. You just need to move. One step, one decision, one action. And that single movement begins to shift your entire internal state. And something very important happens when you act consistently. You start trusting yourself. You prove to your own mind that you can follow through, that you can move even when you don't feel like it. And that self-trust becomes a powerful source of energy. Because when you trust yourself, you stop wasting energy on doubt. You stop questioning every step. You stop hesitating before action. You simply move. And that movement creates a strong, stable energy within you. But when you don't act, the opposite happens. You start doubting yourself. You lose confidence. You feel stuck. Not because you are incapable, but because your mind sees a pattern of inaction. And that pattern lowers your energy over time. This is why action is not just about results. It is about identity. Every time you act, you are telling yourself, I am someone who moves forward. And over time, that identity becomes stronger. You no longer see yourself as someone who waits or delays. You see yourself as someone who executes. And once that identity forms, everything changes. Your decisions become faster. Your focus becomes sharper. Your energy becomes more stable because you are no longer fighting yourself. You are aligned with movement. So when we say action converts energy into power, it means that your energy only becomes meaningful when it is expressed, when it is used, when it is directed toward something real. Because in the end, your life does not change from what you think about. It changes from what you do with the energy you already have. There comes a point where action alone is not enough. You can take action today, feel productive, feel motivated, feel like you're moving forward. But then tomorrow, everything drops again. The energy fades, the focus disappears, and you're back to where you started. This is where most people get stuck. Not because they don't act, but because they don't sustain that action. And this is exactly where discipline becomes the difference between temporary progress and real transformation. Discipline is what stabilizes your energy. It takes all the things we've talked about, your thoughts, your focus, your environment, your actions, and it organizes them into something consistent. Without discipline, your energy is like a wave. It rises when you feel good, and it falls when you don't. And if your life is controlled by those waves, you will always feel inconsistent. But discipline changes that completely. Discipline is not based on how you feel. It is based on what you decide. It is the ability to follow through even when motivation is gone. And that is why it creates stability. Because now your energy is no longer dependent on emotions. It is guided by structure. Think about how much energy you waste every day just deciding what to do. Should I start now or later? Should I do this or something else? Am I ready or not? This constant decision-making drains your mental energy. It creates hesitation, and hesitation slows everything down. But when you have discipline, those decisions are already made. You don't negotiate with yourself every day. You don't argue with your own mind. You follow a structure. You act because it is part of who you are, not because you feel like it in the moment. And that removes a huge amount of mental pressure. This is why disciplined people often appear calm but powerful. Their energy is not scattered. It is directed. They are not constantly fighting themselves. They are aligned with their actions. And that alignment creates a steady, strong energy that doesn't collapse easily. Because the biggest enemy of high energy is inconsistency. When you start something and then stop, your energy drops. When you build momentum and then break it, your mind becomes confused. It doesn't know what to expect from you. And that confusion weakens your internal state. But discipline removes that confusion. It creates predictability. Your mind knows what you will do. It trusts your decisions, and that trust builds confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet, stable confidence, the kind that doesn't shake easily. And here is something important. Discipline is not about doing extreme things. It is about doing simple things repeatedly. Waking up when you said you would. Completing what you started. Showing up even when you don't feel like it. These small actions may not look powerful in the moment, but they build a powerful internal system over time. Because every time you follow through on something, you strengthen your identity. You tell yourself, I am someone who does what I say. And that identity becomes your foundation. It supports everything else, your focus, your energy, your actions. But every time you break your own commitment, even in small ways, your energy weakens. Not because the task was important, but because your mind sees inconsistency. It starts doubting your ability to follow through. And that doubt lowers your energy without you even realizing it. This is why discipline is not punishment. It is protection. It protects your energy from being controlled by emotions. It protects your progress from being interrupted by distractions. It protects your identity from becoming unstable. Over time, discipline becomes natural. What once felt difficult starts feeling normal. You no longer struggle to act. You just act. And this is where your energy becomes stable. Because it is no longer rising and falling based on how you feel. It is staying consistent because your behavior is consistent. And when your behavior is consistent, your results begin to follow. Not instantly, but steadily. And steady progress builds something very powerful: belief. You begin to believe in your process. You begin to trust your direction, and that belief strengthens your energy even more. So discipline is not just about productivity. It is about creating a stable internal system that supports high energy. It is what turns short bursts of motivation into long-term consistency. It is what keeps your energy strong even when your emotions are weak. Because in the time, and your energy does not stay high because you feel good. It stays high because you have trained yourself to act with discipline, no matter how you feel. There are moments in your life when everything feels under control. Your thoughts are clear, your focus is strong, your actions are aligned. And then suddenly, one emotional reaction changes everything. A small trigger, a comment, a setback, a moment of pressure, and your entire internal state shifts. Your energy drops, your clarity disappears, and you feel like you've lost control. This is the power of emotions. They can either elevate your energy instantly or collapse it just as fast. And this is why emotional control is not optional if you want to maintain a high vibration. Because no matter how strong your mindset is, no matter how clear your goals are, if your emotions are unstable, your energy will always be unstable too. You will keep rising and falling based on what you feel in the moment. Most people live like this without realizing it. Their mood depends on what happens around them. If things go well, they feel good. If something goes wrong, they feel bad. And this constant emotional fluctuation creates an unpredictable energy pattern. One day they are motivated, the next day, they feel completely drained. But here is the truth. Emotions are natural, but reactions are a choice. You cannot always control what you feel, but you can control how you respond to what you feel. And that response is what determines whether your energy stays stable or collapses. Because when you react instantly without awareness, your emotions take control of your energy. Anger leads to impulsive decisions. Fear leads to hesitation. Stress leads to overthinking. And all of this drains your energy very quickly. Not because the situation is too big, but because your reaction is amplifying it. But when you create even a small pause between what you feel and how you respond, something powerful happens. You regain control. You stop the automatic reaction. You observe what is happening inside you. And in that moment of awareness, you can choose a better response. That pause is where your strength exists. It may only be a few seconds, but it changes everything. Because now you are not being controlled by your emotions and you are directing them. And this does not mean you ignore your emotions. It does not mean you suppress them. It means you understand them. Every emotion carries information. Anger may be showing you that something feels wrong. Fear may be pointing to uncertainty. Stress may be telling you that something needs attention. But if you react blindly, you lose the message and keep the disturbance. When you observe your emotions instead of reacting to them, you gain clarity. You start seeing what is really happening, not just what you are feeling. And that clarity protects your energy. It keeps you grounded even when situations are not perfect. This is why emotionally strong people are not emotionless. They are aware. They feel everything, but they don't let everything control them. They don't let one moment destroy their entire day. They don't let one setback break their focus. They process emotions without losing direction. And over time, this becomes a skill. You start recognizing your emotional patterns. You notice what triggers you. You become aware of how your body and mind react. And with that awareness, you gain the ability to respond differently. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with control. Instead of reacting with fear, you respond with calm thinking. Instead of reacting with stress, you respond with clarity. And each of these responses keeps your energy stable instead of draining it. Because emotional instability is one of the biggest sources of energy loss. It creates mental noise. It pulls your focus in different directions. It makes you react instead of act. And over time, it weakens your ability to stay consistent. But when you learn to control your emotional responses, your energy becomes steady. You are no longer affected by every small change around you. You remain centered, focused, intentional. And this stability becomes your strength. And something even more powerful happens. Your presence begins to change. People feel your calmness. They notice your control. You don't react like everyone else. You don't get pulled into unnecessary drama. And that makes your energy stand out without you even trying. This is what it means to protect your vibration, not by avoiding life, but by staying in control within it. Not by removing challenges, but by responding to them differently. Not by stopping emotions, but by mastering them. Because in the end, your energy is not tested when everything is easy. It is tested in moments when your emotions try to take over, and your ability to stay in control decides whether your energy rises or falls. At some point, everything you've learned, everything you've understood, everything you've practiced comes down to one thing: what you repeat. Not what you do once, not what you feel occasionally, not what you try when you are motivated, but what you consistently choose to do, again and again, until it becomes part of you. Because repetition is what turns effort into identity, and identity is what defines your energy frequency in the long run. Most people experience moments of high energy. They feel inspired, they feel focused, they feel ready to change. But those moments don't last. Not because they are weak, but because they don't sustain it. They treat high energy like a temporary state instead of building it into a consistent pattern. And when something is not repeated, it fades. That is the reality. You can have one powerful day, one productive session, one moment of clarity. But if it is not followed by consistency, it disappears. And this is why so many people feel like they are starting over again and again. They rise for a moment, then fall back. Not because they lack potential, but because they lack repetition. Consistency is what stabilizes everything. It takes your thoughts, your focus, your actions, your discipline, your emotional control, and it connects them into a continuous flow. Without consistency, all these elements remain separate. They don't build on each other. They don't create long-term change. But when you become consistent, something very powerful starts happening inside you. Your mind begins to adapt. What once felt difficult starts feeling normal. What once required effort starts happening naturally. And slowly, without even noticing, you begin to change at a deeper level. Because your identity is not built in one moment. It is built in patterns. If you consistently think in a certain way, that becomes your mindset. If you consistently act in a certain way, that becomes your behavior. If you consistently respond in a certain way, that becomes your character. And all of this together forms your identity, and your identity is what controls your energy. Not your temporary feelings, not your occasional actions, but who you believe you are. Because once something becomes part of your identity, you don't have to force it anymore. It becomes your default. This is why consistency is more powerful than intensity. Intensity can push you for a short time. It can create a burst of energy, but it cannot sustain it. Consistency, even at a lower level, builds over time. It creates stability. It creates momentum. And momentum is what carries you forward when motivation disappears. Think about it like this: if you only act when you feel motivated, your progress will always be limited. But if you act consistently, regardless of how you feel, your progress becomes unstoppable. Because now your actions are not controlled by emotions. They are controlled by identity. And this is where the real transformation happens. When you stop asking, "Do I feel like doing this?" and start acting because this is who I am. That shift is powerful. It removes hesitation. It removes doubt. It removes inconsistency. And it replaces it with clarity and direction. Because when your identity is aligned with growth, your energy naturally follows. You don't have to chase high energy anymore. You live in it. You operate from it. It becomes your normal state. But building that identity requires patience. It requires repetition without immediate reward. It requires showing up even when you don't see results yet. And this is where most people struggle. They want change quickly. They want results fast. And when they don't see them, they stop. But real change is not instant. It is gradual. It happens beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Every consistent action is shaping your identity, even if you don't see it immediately. Every disciplined moment is strengthening your internal system. Every controlled response is building your stability. And one day, without a dramatic moment, you realize something has changed. You are not reacting the same way. You are not thinking the same way. You are not acting the same way. You have become different. not because of one big decision, but because of hundreds of small, repeated actions. That is the power of consistency. It transforms you quietly, but permanently. And once your identity changes, everything else follows. Your decisions improve, your focus sharpens, your discipline strengthens, your energy stabilizes. Because now everything is aligned with who you are, not just what you are trying to do. So when we say consistency turns high energy into identity, it means that your future is not created in one powerful moment. It is built in the small, repeated actions you choose every day until they become a part of you. And once that happens, you are no longer trying to become a high-energy person. You already are. So choose your actions carefully, repeat them relentlessly, because in the end, what you repeat becomes who you are, and who you are shapes everything.